Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. We are live with a
Hi,
fun
everyone. Hello.
church. Let's make sure that everybody let us know in the chat if you are here that you can see and hear us because we're from Texas and y'all are in Washington State.
Yep.
Okay. So let us know if you can hear us. It does take a little bit, y'all. There's a lag. There'll be a lag from what I say to what you hear, and then what we say to the actual YouTube stream. So good morning. Good morning. I'm going to let a few people get in. If you are watching, make sure that you tell us hello. Good morning, Mom. She's reminding everybody to do a thumbs up to the video when you are logged in. And it's time for another live creator chit chat. Super excited today because I've been watching these ladies. First of all, I love the name Two Vintage Sistas because that's kind of how my mom says, "Move it, sister."
Yeah.
I love that name. And that kind of drew me to it. But watching your content has really helped. And we're going to talk a little bit about you guys as a team, you guys individually, and kind of how you got started. So let me just introduce my guests today, Melissa and Angela of Two Vintage Sistas.
Hi,
So good morning.
everyone.
And I'm going to let you guys kind of tell about yourselves. And then I'll have some questions about how Two Vintage Sistas came about. So which one of y'all would like to go first? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm Angela, everyone, and I'm just so excited to be on this with you, Beth. I mean, we have always really admired you and your tenacity, and we just don't know how you do it all. I mean, I don't know. You guys probably all know that she works full time too, and I mean, this YouTube thing is it's a full time job in itself too, as well as the other business side of actually selling the vintage items too is another full-time job. So more power to you, Beth. But so I am Angela, and we both live in Western Washington and sort of the Tacoma, Washington area. And I have two kids. I have a daughter, 17, and a son that is 20. He's away at school, and my daughter would love to be away. She loves it here, but she is excited to head to college. And then we have my wonderful husband, and we have a dog and two cats. And we both have Etsy shops, and I'm sure we'll be going into that. But my Etsy shop is Our Retro Reflections. So is that all you wanted to hear from me so far?
Yes. And are y'all logged into the chat?
Yes. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
So if you make a comment, I'm going to try to make you a moderator, and that way you can link your Etsy shops in the chat. And then I can go in and copy and paste that. I do have the ladies, Two Vintage Sistas YouTube channels in the description, their channel in the description, but I'd also like to include their Etsy shops as well. They have some cool things. So if you would just, I am going to try to make you a moderator. Oh, there you are.
I think I actually signed in under Our Retro Reflections.
And I think I put you in timeout for, I don't know how to do all that. Okay. Oh no, I may have somehow removed them from the stream. So ladies, if you can hear me, come back. Oh gosh, I don't know how to get that off of the screen. Let's see. I'm not really sure, but ladies, come back in because I think when I tried to make you a moderator, it went to deleting that. So I am so sorry. If you just click the link again, you'll come right back in the same as you did before. And I think it timed you out. I have no idea how to do all this. Usually I make people moderator just by touching their name. So I'll have to make sure that I did that. So I'm so sorry, y'all. I've pushed the wrong button. I don't know what is happening. The ladies will be back with me momentarily, but today's live creator chit chat is with Two Vintage Sistas. They're two ladies that are both into vintage, and they have both have Etsy shops, but they have one channel together. And I think that they both have other channels as well. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. So if they can still hear me, they can log back in to the chat. I have no idea how I did that, but then there's that. I'm not really sure. I was supposed to put them in as a moderator. There they are. Y'all, I'm so sorry. Gosh, I don't even know how I did that.
That's okay. I got to put you back in our tripod here really quick.
Ugh.
You want to
and
turn that down?
I think where I can make you a moderator, but it is not letting me do that. So gosh, this day, I'm adding you as a moderator now. Our Retro Reflections is now a moderator. I don't know how I didn't do that the first time. So sorry.
I didn't know if that was.
I think she should change.
Okay. I have to remember the password.
Did you get it back?
Yeah,
Hey.
we're back.
Okay.
I'm gonna sign in under Two Vintage Sistas.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that our Retro Reflections actually got timed out. So, and I don't know how to untime them.
That's okay.
Let's see. I have made our Retro Reflections a moderator, so then there's that. All right, we'll get it together in a second, y'all. We'll get it together in a second. It's just one of those days.
Yeah, well, I sign in. Do you want Melissa to talk about herself?
Yeah. We'll let Melissa introduce herself and see if I cannot cut her off of the screen today.
Okay, everyone. Hello, my name is Melissa, and I am one half of the Two Vintage Sistas. And so a little bit about me. So I am also a wife and a mother. I have two boys, 23 and 21, and both live at home right now. My 23-year-old is having some medical issues and has for a couple years. So he's at home and is due for another surgery November 18th. He was born with a really defunct leg and knee, and he's had cadaver transplants, and he's had a lot to try to help his knee and his leg in his young years. Anyway, so that's my one son. And then my other son is going to technical college to be a carpenter. My husband is a union carpenter. And so that's what our other son does. And I have a dog and 3 kitty cats. They call me the crazy cat lady, the crazy cat mama. Anyway, and I'm also a school teacher, trying to finish up. I went back to finish up and get all ready to go and certificated, and then COVID kind of came. And so anyway, but I actually love doing the vintage reselling and YouTubing better than, so would love to maybe make that my full-time job, but the hubby is like, anyway, pushing me. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I also have an Etsy shop. My Etsy shop is One Vintage Junkie. And yeah, so that is Lover of Vintage and one of the sisters.
Yeah.
Now, since you've been made a moderator, you should be able to drop links in the chat.
Okay.
So if you can get in and if I knew how to take this off of my screen, that would be great. I don't know. I think it has to wait until you guys are not in timeout anymore. And I don't know how to make that happen. So
you want to put the links to our Etsy shops?
Drop the links to your Etsy shops in chat. We can do that. And so I just wanted to talk, because I know you guys, I like watching the channel. Well, you've done some collabs, and we were in some collabs together, especially like tiered tray collabs and things like.
Mhm.
We've done a couple of those together, and those are already always fun. Thank you, Miss Kathy, and good morning to you. She said she's going to keep your son in her prayers.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
And I also know that you guys like what I would call the 80s. So the 80s toys, and like the Sesame Street, the Barbie. And then I learned about Mary Englebright from y'all. I didn't
Mary
know
Englebright. Yeah.
Mhm.
right, as well as Holly Hobby. And I think in one of my videos, I actually was like, look, Two Vintage Sisters, if y'all are out there, tell me what this is, because I'm drawn to those, especially those plates that have the years on them, because they're so stinking cute.
Yeah.
And anything about them.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit how each of you got started in the vintage, how y'all got started with vintage and antiques.
Yeah, I'll let Melissa go first.
So actually, my dad, growing up, my dad always kind of dabbled in the antique, kind of that antique market, the vintage world. My dad had antique booths in 2 or 3 places locally where we live. And he also would always have pop-up, before pop-up sales became pop-up sales, you know, like with social media. My dad would open the garage door, and I kid you not, he would set his garage up like a showroom, and he would have what my mom called glorified garage sales in his garage. But he had a lot of junk. He was a junker. He'd go like junk piles, but he actually just loved vintage and antiques. So it kind of, I remember being 8 and 10, and my sister and I would run around and play hide and seek at night. There'd be nobody there. He'd be doing his booth. The stairs would be creaking. We'd be running up and down. Anyway, so that's kind of where it all started for me. So
yeah, and I mean, somebody has to get us started, right? But a glorified garage sale sounds like a lot of fun.
it was, I just remember, I just have memories of the coffee and him out there, and my dad loved people and chatting. And so he would just, that's where I get it. But anyway, he would just chat him up, and he just had a blast. Like, he was very knowledgeable. So that's kind of where I learned, that's where I learned. And then being an 80s gal myself, you know, 80s is kind of my decade. I always say I was the child of the 80s. So, and what a time to be growing up, right? Iconic. And so I've always had a love for 70s, 80s. That's just kind of my thing. So
Right.
And this is your Etsy shop, this one vintage junkie. This is yours, Melissa?
Yep.
Okay. Because I know y'all find a couple of things and you put them in your Etsy shops. My favorite is when y'all go to the storages. When you go to the storage buildings. Those are my
really? Well, I've got a storage, let me tell you.
I covet all of them.
Are you talking about when we show Melissa's storage, or when we go to storage places?
Oh, I thought it was y'all's storage bin. Is it not both of y'all's storage
It's
bins?
No, it's just Melissa.
It's mine. Oh my. It's mine.
Those are so fun. One of the ones was the Halloween mask, and you bought this lot, and y'all were divvying up. And they have such a fun way of, like, when they find something and they maybe buy a lot or whatever, but divvying it up to make it fair. And I was like, I don't know if I could be that, you know?
Yeah, that actually, we kind of flashed back to that specific video just recently, because we just did a new video about more Halloween masks for this year, and that is going up on Sunday, tomorrow.
So we'll have a new video Sunday. So
yeah.
Oh, good. So I'm gonna try this, y'all. I'm learning new things. Good morning, our vagabond travels, Debbie. Debbie, how many more days? Debbie is coming to visit me, and we're going to Round Top, and we're going to go shopping and do all things. And so it'll be the first time like an out-of-state YouTube friend has come to visit. So we're counting the days like we're 5. We're counting the days to get to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad she got to come in. I think this is yours, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's mine.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in all this.
So I've always loved the idea of buying something for really cheap and reselling it, right?
Yes.
And also like finding an excellent sale, and I'd go straight to the sale racks. Although not that I just have like a trashy, style or anything at all. I'd always want to buy more expensive thing, more high-end things, but at a really good price, right? So, but I didn't know necessarily how that really fit into what I wanted to do for a living. And then Melissa and I, so we should kind of go back a little bit. Melissa and I have known each other since high school. So she was 2 years ahead of me in school, and she was a TA in one of my classes. And so we got to know each other that way. And
Fun.
she graduated, and I graduated. We went off to school, kind of went our separate ways. You know, this was before social media, so we didn't really keep track of each other necessarily. And then my husband said, hey, I really want you to, and I knew her as Missy.
I know you know me a long time ago when you call me Missy.
Yeah.
No, Missy. No.
So my husband said, hey, I really want you to meet my good friend Tom and his wife Melissa. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. And so we went over to a house for dinner, and out walks Melissa, Missy, as I know her, and we just like ran to each other and hugged each other, and we were like, oh my gosh.
And the guys are like,
yeah, they're like, you two know each other?
Do girls always? I mean, we were just like, it was crazy.
So, you know, our kids kind of grew up, you know, we kind of lost a little bit of touch again, even though, you know, we were really good friends. And then we kept meeting up at the high school football games. So even though we're in the Tacoma area, we're sort of in a smaller suburb, and it's really fun to kind of go to the local high school games. And her boys played football, and then once my kids hit high school, you know, we started going to the games, and so we would sit with each other at the games. And so for the longest time, we just sit and chit chat, and I mean, we'd half pay attention to the game, and I mean, she is paying more attention because, you know, our boys were actually playing.
I don't know about no.
But I was just sitting there like chit-chatting.
My husband said I talked an awful lot. No surprise.
Yeah. So just kind of out of the blue, she kind of mentioned her Etsy shop. And I'm like, what? You haven't told me about this Etsy shop. What are you talking about? And she goes, oh yeah, I have this. I haven't really told any of my friends about it. I have this Etsy shop where I sell vintage items. And I'm like, really? Tell me more tell me more about that. And so she told me more about it and the money that she was making in it. And I was like, can I help you with this? Because at the time I had a lot of free time on my hands. You know, my kids were older, and yes, I worked, you know, part-time, but I was kind of looking for something else to do. And she was like, well, you know, maybe. And then her and her husband were talking, and they were like, you know what, you should have your own Etsy shop, and we should do this together. So she kind of taught me a lot of what I know today. And now we've kind of taught each other. I think.
She helps me a lot.
So that's kind of how we got started necessarily. But what was the question?
How you got into the business.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I wanted to make sure I answered.
She's back on.
She
came around full circle. She had that moment.
Woo!
Woohoo! Aha! She hit her aha.
So that's how I got started. And now, with my other part-time job, my boss is retiring, and so I'm transitioning this into my full-time.
And she'll
job.
rock it.
And
she's good.
Yeah, it's been going pretty well so far.
She's found her niche.
And I've kind of pulled my husband along with me, and so now he loves to thrift, and so anyway, that's how I got started.
Yeah, I see you and your husband thrifting a little bit on Instagram, because you both have Instagram as well, right? Do both of you? I know that I am follow. I know I see Angela post a little bit more. And then sometimes I'll see both from the Two Vintage Sistas, and I see you guys in your videos going places. Now, Lovey loves that I do it, but he's not, you know, that's really not his niche, but he'll take me anywhere I want to go. But it's
good.
My husband is like that. He'll take me anywhere, but he's not, he'll help. mail stuff and go to the post office, but it's not really his thing.
I think he's a closet thrifter though, because he will bring stuff home for her and he'll be like, oh yeah, I passed by a yard sale and I thought you might like this. So I think he won't admit it, but he does like it.
Then yes, he is just on the down low about his love of thrifting. Yes. Now, Lovey will call, like when he's out running or he's gone to run an errand, he'll be like, hey, he'll send me a picture, or he'll call and say, hey, there's a sign that says there's a estate sale or a garage sale. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. That's like speaking my love language right there.
Right. Exactly.
And Debbie is saying that her honey will take her anywhere and let her walk around. And I always tell him, I go, oh, I'm so sorry that you're so bored or whatever. And he was like, I'm just walking around with you looking at stuff. He's like, I'm not bored. He's like,
that's good.
This is what you want to do. I'll take you, So he's a very patient man, that Lovey.
That's good. That's a keeper then.
And I will say that I don't do eBay or Etsy. So I am, now my friend Christine at Side Street Market, she does eBay and Etsy. And then Michelle and Newton's Cupboard, they're the two that I really talk to a lot. She does eBay, and Dolores has her own Etsy shop, but she has handmade jewelry. And now she's kind of moving that into like, repaired and refurbished vintage, and it's a lot of handbags and jewelry and things like that, but they love their Etsy shops. I just know that they spend a lot of time photographing and listing and keeping up with, and they'll be like, oh, it's a Saturday, I have nothing to do this morning. Then you hear their phone bing bing bing.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
I gotta go wrap 4 orders. And I'm like, wow, and right now with me working full time, we've talked about it, but I just don't think that I'm able to launch the eBay or the Etsy, or either. I think that eBay might be a little bit, if I'm right, is that like a little wider bit of it's a little broad, and then Etsy, it really truly has to be vintage to put it under vintage.
Yeah, vintage or handmade.
Yeah. So, but I know that they're doing really well with those. So how'd y'all start the YouTube? You went from Etsy to YouTube. How did that start?
How did we start that? I mean, we must have just talked about, hey, I think Melissa, she's really started watching other YouTube channels and seeing how much fun people were having. And she said, you know what, we could do this. Why can't we do this? I think people would get a kick out of watching us shop together or
just our antics.
Right. So that's kind of how that started.
And so y'all just decided, well, I was doing lives, and then, with COVID, our shows kept getting canceled. Good morning, Erin, the Collection Vintage. I saw,
hi, Erin.
Hi.
Her stuff is amazing. She's up in Canada, but I love to watch her videos about how she displays. She's one of the first people about the displaying, like using the vintage to display. I started watching. Yeah.
And Erin, I agree. That's like when she would do her kitchen and her little shelves in her kitchen. I know she's moved recently, and I enjoyed watching her home tour. And Erin, your house you have it decorated. So I love it. But
she's very talented. Yeah.
She's one I watch. Yep.
And I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, how does she make things so beautiful? And it looks like it's not crowded. I tried to make things beautiful, but the rest of this house looks like a complete. Her house is like so clean, and it's got like the blankets are where they're supposed to be, and everything flows. And I'm like, that's cute. Put it here. That's cute. Put it here.
Yeah, there is that fine line of making sure things don't look too cluttered, and that it looks the way it's supposed to look, instead of I just threw a bunch of stuff together.
Put it on a shelf.
Well, it's a running joke because I had a bunch of home construction, which means I lost my carpet, and we got tile. We replaced it with tile. It's better for everybody. But in that, I don't put a lot of things. Like, this is probably the most that I have on any wall in any home. And it's because I kind of needed a backdrop, right? but this house echoes like
Mm.
you're just in a school building, and it's all cinder block because it. And so they're like, well, you have to put things on the wall. I'm like, then you have to dust them, and then you need to put a rug. And I'm like, I got tile. They're like, no, you want it to stop echoing. And so I'm like,
yeah, that will help.
yeah. I was like, Lovey, we have to buy more stuff. And he is like, right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to try to thrift some of this. I love the furniture, and that's my downfall. I absolutely love furniture, and like I actually get it off the street, clean it up, flip it up, and
Good
that's how I
for you.
got started. We've talked about it on my channel a good bit, but and furniture takes up a lot of space.
It does.
Yeah.
So how do y'all, I mean, Melissa, we now have uncovered the fact that you have a storage building for yourself.
I'm in a closet storage vintage hoarder.
But it's somewhat organized.
But it's somewhat organized,
Yeah.
and I do resell it. But when I need a hankering for shopping, my husband's like, "What's you going to the Goodwill for?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm gonna go thrifting." Why don't you just go thrift in unit 629? I'm like, whoa. He's like, listen, honey, you have more bins on the unlisted side than you do the listed side.
But you guys did that. Y'all went through and you did a thing where you had, your goal was how many, to list so many?
We did that.
Yeah.
We did that for a while.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
50 or 100.
Yeah, I don't remember how
in a
many
s-
bins we were going to get listed in a certain period of time. Yeah.
So you know what I thought to do, Beth, and I don't know what, maybe people can comment below and let you know or tell you in the chat, but I've often thought of doing a series, like an unbinning series on YouTube, like where I go into my unit, I get out a bin, and I'm like, hey guys, let's do an unbinning, like a mystery box kind of, but a mystery box out of my own storage. Like what has Melissa thrifted and put away that she forgot about? And let's open it up and see what's in here. I don't
Free
know.
stuff.
What do you think? I mean, I've thought of doing a series like that and doing it on a regular basis because I've got about 40 plus bins.
Well, I mean, we would be excited because you would be excited because you forgot what was in there.
Yeah, and it might move my stuff a little bit because I'll be like, oh, wow, look, Halloween. Oh, Christmas. Oh, I need to get that listed. So I've thought of doing that. I've given that a thought.
Have y'all done any live sales or Instagram sales?
We did do a few. We did one Instagram, and then
We do one YouTube.
yeah, and then we did one YouTube.
But only one.
Oh, yes,
And-
YouTube, a live sale, because I was there. Wasn't it Christmas stuff? Because I was there for
It
that.
was a lot of Christmas.
I think you bought some stuff from us. Too.
Yeah. I think I did too.
I think-
know that.
I think that's how you were started on our radar.
And
you
I
were so
won some-
nice. What was that?
I won something. The
Oh, yeah.
snowman challenge.
She won in
Right,
our snowman
right.
contest where we go find an item and the value.
That's right. Yeah.
We did that thrift wars kind of thing or something.
Yes, and Debbie says you should totally do the unbinning. And so I know that there's a couple of people who will like do the shop my shelves for their
Wow.
inventory. So maybe you just pull out a bin and
Shop my bin.
yeah,
Good
but
idea.
she's totally do the unbinning piece of that. And Debbie and Erin is saying, oh, but you should see my basement. That's the downfall. Basements.
Basement, storage units.
Well, see, it's my garage.
So we
she
all
has a storage unit, but you have like other things in your garage. You don't really have bins in your garage much. So yeah, no, our whole garage is full of bins, and so you may have seen some of that in some reels or some pictures that I've taken.
we all have our secret place.
Yeah.
Well, we had said we were not getting a storage. That was just my thing. I'm not getting a storage. Well,
Don't,
girl,
Beth, don't. I'm just
we have one, but it's
Oh.
because we totally emptied our garage. I did a video. We, in the dead of July heat in Texas, emptied the complete garage. And what we did was we put things back in there. But because we do some woodworking and because we do some other stuff, I mean, we have like tools and paint, and we have a work area. So there's not a lot of leftover space for me to put bins. I do have a slot where I have like all my boxes are now organized, and I have my bubble wrap, but I have to go out there and get it because I'm not standing in the heat when it's 100 degrees in the garage to package. So I just go back and forth from this table to the garage. But what's in the storage right now is all of the things that we use to set up a booth, right? Like all the furniture and the things that we need. And then also some unfinished furniture pieces. It's a lot of those. And then a lot of school stuff. And I started teaching, I didn't have anything. So the teachers that were teaching and retiring from 30 years gave me their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, nice.
I know there's all this vintage, like the Halloween things that you walls and stuff. And I just have to get in there to get that. So I need to kind of go through it and throw some stuff out. And we were just talking about, I was like, I've got to get rid of that. It's like $100 a month or something like that. And that's a lot of money at the end of the year just to hold stuff I haven't got around to yet.
Yeah, I know. I feel ya.
Right.
Is stuff in your storage listed on your Etsy though?
So half of my storage is listed, right? And we number our bins and we keep a spreadsheet so we know where to find things. Right. And then the other half, which actually my husband will tell me is leaching onto the listed half, is actually unlisted, and it probably is at least 1.5 times of what I have listed. At least it's probably, I think I have like 50 bins of listed, and I probably have 75 to 80 of unlisted. But I have a lot of stuff.
But to be fair, she accumulated a lot of things from her mother-in-law and her husband's grandparents,
my dad
and her dad.
Have all passed away.
So it's not like she's
bought all
of it.
No, a lot of it I have, but a lot of it she is right. And I also, as a teacher, just in education, I have a lot of vintage books, and I just have a lot of my own stuff, right, from my kid that is put away. So it would be great to go through it all, because then I would remember. I love when I open a bin and like, dang, why haven't I had that on? I just sold that. So it's just so overwhelming at times because I have so much.
Yeah, we were laughing because I love the show Hoarders.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's because like I feel their pain, and I'm always like, but okay, you can't just go in and throw their stuff away, Yeah. And he was like, hoarder. So I think that one of the strategies is that you take one box a day and you make decisions about those things that are in that one box. And I was like, yeah, but then where do you, like, I want to keep it all. That's why it's here.
I have done that. I have gone through and weeded out and kind of donated. And now that I've done Etsy long enough, you learn what sells. Angela and I have both we've done some new sale categories. We kind of learn what moves through and what kind of sits. And, you're paying for that, right? I mean, you're paying to keep that stuff. And so, we love all our stuff, we love everything we put in our shops. I think my shop is kind of like one big collection in a way. Yeah. It's like that was where I got started for myself on Etsy. Was my husband's like, honey, you can't have any more kitty cat figure, like you have a collection and then all of a sudden you can't have 40 collections. I'm like, why can't I collect plates and cats and Mary Engelbreit? And so, but I love to look for the stuff and save it, I guess, if you will, from the landfill, or just give it to, pass it along and find that treasure that connects that person. I just love it when people will comment on my shop. Oh my gosh, I've been looking for that forever. Thank you. I didn't think I'd ever see it again. And so those are where my motivation, those kind of things. And so I think that's where, but I'm learning what really doesn't either, I don't have heartstrings to, or just isn't going to sell. It's really and so I have done some of that where I go through and try to weed it out, but dang it, I still have a lot of stuff.
And you guys did one of those pop-ups, and I remember you filming the pop-up, and there were things that sold and things that didn't sell, and these were the things that didn't sell. And I'm like, why did that not sell?
I know.
Oh my God. And I would have never been able to take it to Goodwill or donate it. We had
that video. We had a truckload full of stuff that we donated.
A 250.
It just hadn't sold in our Etsy shops, and we're like, okay, we've had it on 60-70% off in our Etsy shops. We had our pop-up, put it out, and we did sell a lot, but there was a lot that didn't sell, and we're like, well, we need to move things out so that we have more room to bring things in. But I think it's really fun though to be able to go and buy things that we love and then enjoy it maybe, you know, on our table for a little bit, but then put it up in our Etsy shops and then pass it along to the next person.
How often do you guys use what you thrift in your own home decor? Are you more of thrifting to resell or thrifting for home decor, or is it like 50-50?
So I know Angela does that more than I do. I know for myself, I occasionally will pull something, but I would say that I definitely thrift to resell. I have my own collections, but most of the stuff I thrift. I mean, I love it. I picked it because I loved it and I want to share it, but I don't so much decorate with what I thrift.
Yeah, I would say maybe I would have about 5 pieces that around the house that I've thrifted necessarily. I like enjoying it for a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
And especially maybe for that season, and then I can put it in the Etsy shop and sell it, and then I can change out my decor for the next
But everything
season.
you thrift, you don't do that with. Just a handful.
No,
Just a few.
Right.
And don't you think it markets the items? So I sometimes wonder, like she showed something was it in a tray? Like a collab? You did it to your...
The little pumpkin figurines?
Mm-hmm. And then they sold, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've sold, yeah.
So maybe there's a strategy, right? You show those things and people are like, wow, look at how that looks on her coffee table. And then the next thing you know, she's like, hey guys, these are available in my Etsy shop. So I kind of like her market. So in a way, light bulb, there might be a little strategy to that.
Do they like sell?
Go ahead. Can you see these swung vases behind us?
Back there.
So I just thrifted those actually in the video that I just posted yesterday. But I'm enjoying them for this season, and I'll put them up in the Etsy shop, and if they sell, then I'll just change out the decor.
Yeah, and that's what I said. One of the things that when I thrift it, when I'm doing the hauls, I'll say, I'm going to keep this for the first season. And but then like I'll find something else later and I kind of switch it out. I don't have a whole lot of home decor. A lot of stuff I make myself because I was into the crafting piece of it. And so, sometimes it just gets ratted out and you need to let it go.
Right.
But the idea of marketing it, actually Sarah from Thrift U, when I did one of my first sales, I had some uranium plates and she was kind of guiding me, helping me because I really didn't know how to do this whole live sale thing. It was so new to me on YouTube, and I was on someone else's channel, and she was like, put some cookies on it and put a bow on it.
Yeah.
It is sell. Like it's gonna to sell. Well, I didn't have any cookies, but for some reason I had oatmeal cream pies, and I figured those were just as good.
Those are good.
I put oatmeal cream pies and tied it with red tulle and sold both of those plates. And she was like, when she shows something, a lot of times she will add the flowers to the wall pocket or to the vase or to the planter, because people actually need to envision. It's like when you stage a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've talked about this a lot on my channel is originally I started with the furniture and somebody was like, hey, you need to kind of stage it with some other stuff. So I went to use stuff that I had at my house, went to the thrift store, put it on there, and people were buying the stuff that I was staging with versus the furniture because I had to make it fit the genre, like what it looked like if it was mid-century or if it was, vintage or antique. I had to have something that looked like that. And that's kind of how the two worlds got merged together. When I did the show, they were more interested in the knickknacks than the bigger pieces of furniture. So I do agree, Melissa, that when you market it, I actually have on my list for October's videos, I have a shop my vignette.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I'm going to do a shop my vignette. I'm going to stage it with a whole bunch of things, which I do now. I go ahead and put them in inventory. I put a price tag and an inventory number on them because whether I take them to the booth or take them to the show, they're ready. But then sometimes I'll pull it and put it in my house and there's stuff all over my house with price tags on it. So
that's so fun. It's like, you live in a store. Isn't that nice?
know what's funny is I've had people like come over, like small group or something. They're like, "Oh, I love that," and another lady
You
will say,
can buy that.
"For sale, yeah, it's for sale." And I actually had a pop up in my house. We called it a sip and shop when it was like the Christmas before COVID, and I think no, maybe it was that it was a November show that got canceled or something, or after the show I still had a bunch of stuff, and I invited people that had, somebody had jewelry, someone had handmade clothes for dolls, somebody had wine glasses. They each brought something, and mine was set up here, and we each had like little stations, and people came to my house and had a glass of wine on a Friday night after work, and had a snack and shopped. And it was pre-Christmas, so one lady said, "I have all my Christmas shopping done right here in your living room."
That's great.
That's great. Yeah,
So,
I think it's great to stage things if you can, but I think we're loading our Etsy shops so quickly that we don't have time to necessarily stage everything. But there are a few things that I like to stage. Like if I sell a vintage suitcase or a train case, I like to stage those if I can. Because I feel like if people just see just a plain picture with a white background of it, they might not know what to do with it. But generally, our pictures are pretty plain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could spend 24/7.
Don't have enough hours.
Yeah, we don't have enough hours.
Between the two of us, we have like almost 2,000 items on Etsy.
wow. So
That's a lot.
those when you're doing Etsy though, it's take the pictures, make the listing, and get it up. And y'all are how many? So you have 2,000 between the two of your shops.
She has over 1,000, and I have almost 900. It's a
And
lot.
Are you trying to keep, like, I know Michelle and them, "Good morning, Left Lane. How are you?" And Debbie says she loves to thrift it, and when it's done loving on it, she wants to pass it on for somebody else to love on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you have a minimum of how, like how many, or a minimum or maximum of how many you'd like to have in your shops?
As much as possible. But one thing that's tricky is that we're selling so much at the same time that it's hard to keep up on listing. So listing takes a little bit of time. And so, although it doesn't take as much time anymore because we can copy so many of our previous listings, even if the item has sold, and then just switch out the photos and maybe change out some of the description. But that takes some time. So between shipping all of the items that we're selling each day and then picturing and all of that, and then trying to find some time to thrift, because that's the most fun part. It is hard to keep up. It's hard to grow that number because you're
kind of hovers at the same.
Yeah, it kind of tends to hover about the same number.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of listings to have and to maintain, and to, you run a sale every once in a while, and then you have to replace, when it drops really low, you want to put some new stuff in there. Well, you got to thrift to put some new stuff in there. I mean, I think that having Etsy and eBay is truly a full-time job.
It is.
Even just doing YouTube and the few live sales that I do, I know that when we had school off a couple of times, I literally worked 8-9 hours just on this stuff. And it could be a full-time job. It's just labor intensive. And I don't think people really understand that when they jump into like Etsy or eBay, but it's constant. I mean, you have to check it, you have feedback, you have to do all of that stuff. So, that's a lot of work, which is probably why I haven't done it yet.
Well, it is a lot of work, but I'd much rather be doing that than any other job. So, if you enjoy it, then it's not really work.
Yeah, and you can do most of that in your pajamas.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, there are times where I'm taking a shower at 1 in, the afternoon, and my husband's like, "Are you just taking a shower?" Yeah, but at least I've gone to the gym.
Well, then you're way ahead of me. Left Lane says that she tries to maintain around 50, so she's so part-time, 50 listings in 2,000, but that's 2,000 between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we each have, well, she's, like I said, she's over 1,000. I have 880 something, but she sold 2,000, like 300, but she sold 2,300 and I've sold like 20. We're about the same. So, I mean, that's a lot of listings, right? That's like 3,000, 3,500.
Yeah.
That's a lot of picturing and typing, and it's a big job.
Well, and editing the photos
And
before,
researching the item
researching prices, following up with customers.
Yeah, the comping and the packaging and invoices. Those are the two things that when I comp an item, I mean, you're just searching and searching, and you're searching multiple places and you're Googling stuff because you want to find out if it's authentic or if it's a repro. And then, the shopping for it and the washing it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
That's not it. And then the live sales that I'm doing or the drop sales that I'm doing or staging it in my booth or going to a show. The shows are labor intensive, which we have a show coming up and somebody asked me, they're considering a booth. They're considering a booth and they're considering doing shows. I've got two different ladies that are talking to me about it. And she was like, so tell me a little bit about this booth. And so I meant to, last time I went to the booth last weekend, film like, okay, we're loading it all in the car. We're driving it at 45. We're taking everything old down and putting all the new stuff up. We're rearranging and all that. And now you go home and now guess what? You got to find a spot for all the stuff you brought home.
I'd love to watch that.
I would like a video. I would love to watch that.
Yeah, somebody asked me about it and I was like, you know what? My intention was to do that. And then that Saturday I woke up and I was like, I just want to go home and sit down.
Yeah.
And I do need to do that. And then the other one that someone has asked about was the booth, the shows. But you have to remember, setup, we actually have to get a trailer. We rent a trailer because we don't have a storage place for a trailer. So we rent a U-Haul trailer. We have Lovey loads it because I don't know how to load a trailer. It's all about weight and all that. I'm not interested in that. I put stuff in a box. I put it in the truck. But he loads the trailer. So we go the Thursday or the weekend, the Thursday before or the weekend before, bring it all home from the booth, right? Then it sits there. Then we get a trailer. We load it up on Thursday night. Friday, I drive the trailer to the show and set up because I have to take off of work. Friday is the setup day. He's at work. I set up the shop. And then on Saturday, we're there from 8:30 to 6. Then we load it all back and
wow, Beth. I don't know how you do it.
So somebody asked me, how do you like doing the shows? I love the shows.
Yeah, it's the setup.
It's the work behind the show. It's everything that goes around the show.
Yeah, and I don't think that people understand that. So she had asked me about doing a video on that too. And I was like, you know what? For me, it is just getting the tripod set up and, remembering, hey, you're still recording, and then having to
live, people are watching,
editing. The first time I edited a video for YouTube, it took me 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
We've gotten a little faster, but we've been there too.
It does take
a while.
Especially if you're changing locations and you want to add pictures in. Yeah.
So I want to, Two Vintage Sistas is who we're chatting with today. I want to remind those that are just coming in, and good morning to everyone that's come in and who is watching. But if you're here, let me know that you're here in the chat. I'm so excited to talk to these ladies. I've been watching their videos. Now, do you both have YouTube channels too, or is it just Two Vintage Sistas?
So we started with the Two Vintage Sistas, and that is still going. But I'm branching out a little bit to have our Retro Reflections page or channel also. And I'm going to be doing that one with my husband too. So I'm going to be doing both. Yeah.
And so the link for your Two Vintage Sistas channel is in the description below. And I'm going to go ahead and put I've flashed up their Etsy shops, but I'm going to put their Etsy shops in the link below. Go check out their stuff. So is there stuff that you carry more so? I mean, are you into, it's mostly the 80s stuff, or is it just anything that you find?
It tends to be more mid-century to all the way to the 90s, I would say.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that the 90s, right? Like as we're getting older, right? The 90s is becoming kind of vintage, right? Like you can't the Disney stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff from the 90s that Fisher Price, that you just can't get anymore. So we tend to mid-century, I'd say through the 90s, but really 80 mid-century up through the 80s for the most.
Probably our most fun things to have in our shops would be things from the 70s and 80s,
from our childhood,
from when we were kids. Yeah.
Or our mom had that, or our grandma had that, or
yeah.
Now you guys have a lot of toys and things too, right?
Yeah, we have some toys. Yeah.
Because I know that when I've watched some of the videos, I'm like, well, I remember that, but I didn't really have it. Now the Barbie one, yeah, because I was, I had Barbie, like I told you, Barbie townhouse, and so that was the big Christmas that Santa would bring this townhouse
with the big bow.
Townhouse with the stupid little elevator making it work. And
I have that in my shop right now, actually, Beth, if you want to buy it.
And I had several of them. I mean, but the Barbies, lots of the Barbies, but I Melissa's one on Barbie, I was like, oh, I've seen that one. Or those are the ones. I know that Carol loves the little people. Carol from My Blessed Nest.
Yeah, me too.
The little
Angela
people
has a lot of that in her shop.
You mentioned, you had a bunch of the Barbie furniture and the little people accessories. Who had the furniture? All that furniture from?
Oh, from Barbie.
Yeah.
Well, we both had
blow up
furniture, wicker furniture. We both have that, but Angela has a lot of the little people in her shop.
Yeah, the Fisher Price. Yeah, one entire corner of my garage is storage of little people items.
And when I saw that, I think I saw your video, and then Carol did something where she just, Carol from My Blessed Nest, she just loves it, and she is so wonderful. Yeah. But I passed up. It was a little people barn.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't remember. I think it was 50% off of $5 or something.
Oh, Beth.
Well, to make you feel a little bit better, the barn is probably one of the most common out there. So there isn't as much, there isn't as much value in the barn as you might say, like the castle.
Yeah.
The castle or the Sesame Street Playhouse. Yeah, with all of the figures. Yeah.
Yeah, because of y'all, I picked up Sesame Street fabric.
Did you?
The applique things.
Those are,
It's a Sesame Street Christmas, and I think there's like 2 or 3 panels.
Wow.
It's the applique they owe. I don't think it's the doll ones where, you put the pieces.
Right.
And so I found those, and when I see stuff like that, I'm like, that's something that they would pick up. I just know.
Definitely.
So I did find it. I think I paid 10 cents for
that. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. And then I looked it up, and so you start comping it or whatever, and it's like from an 84 or an 85 Sesame Christmas. I guess
there was
there are different times. There were different characters in the Christmas. I don't know. See, that's this kind of stuff that I do for the Vintage 101 because I don't know anything about that kind of stuff,
Right. Yeah, we love picking up fabric panels. Mm-hmm.
Miss Tori Johnson's in the chat. Thank you for coming, and she loves the idea of the unboxing in your storage too.
I might have to start a new series on Two Vintage Sistas, like unbin with me or something, and then maybe eventually shop with me. We can shop them, but I think just going through those treasure little boxes and seeing what's in there, because there's stuff in there that who knows.
That is
stuff.
I think it's Dina, or you left Lane Finds. I think that's the name. I am horrible with names. And I apologize if that is the wrong name. She said she recently picked up Little People figures at the 127 yard sale.
Oh, wow.
And I've been watching y'all thrift, and I think, Angela, you get to thrift because your husband has to travel for work. And so y'all go, whenever he goes, you kind of go, and then y'all thrift together.
Well, he might just want to use me for the HOV lane, though. So he has to drive up to Seattle and drive, down to Olympia and over even further west into Gig Harbor.
And we have traffic where we live.
Yeah, we have a lot of traffic. So yeah.
It's hard to go anywhere.
I think part of it is he wants to spend time with me, but then, there is that
Keep telling yourself
element
Of the benefits of the HOA.
Of the HOV and her company.
Oh, okay. And so I see your shops, and I told Lovey, I said, I want to go places that, where I am is not really old Texas. Not really. So I want to go to some day trips. I'm not a driver. I'm a flyer, meet you there kind of girl.
Yeah.
So those, like Tammy from Vintage Uprising, Texas, she just drove from Texas all the way up to like Brimfield, stopping all these different places along the way. And I was like, no, ma'am, I could not be in the car that long. Absolutely not. I will fly, meet you there. Y'all pick me up at the airport. We'll go on. Then I'll meet you at the next airport. Oh, and who has the white cat?
We have a visitor.
Oh, Melissa has the white.
I have a real fluffy white cat.
Yeah, this is my cat, Flynn.
And that's and both of them are pretty big, yeah?
I call him Garfield.
Look at that loving look. Oh my God.
Oh, he loves you. He's our sociable one. We have one that's very social and one that will hide under the bed if somebody comes over.
But he just looked at her like, oh, I love you.
Yeah.
He's my buddy.
You smell like other cats and pet treats, because she brought our dog some treats.
Well, yeah, I spoiled our dog. She's my little girlfriend.
So what is coming up for your channels? Two Vintage Sistas, I know you're going to launch or work on our retro reflections, but what's coming up for your channels and your stores?
Well, tomorrow we have a couple videos going up. We're participating in Deco Easy's collab, and so we're doing some DIYs. So we did a video together about our Halloween masks, and Melissa did a fabulous job showing how to take a mask and put it into a shadow box and put lights behind it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and these are all super cool vintage masks. And then I did a video on Our Retro Reflections channel about how to take a mask and put it into a cloche. And I actually have it. Oh, let me see if I can give you a little teaser. Am I angling it right?
No, want me to
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's, the creepy Halloween isn't necessarily, our style, but it's fun to take something that isn't that you wouldn't necessarily always go with and try something new, right?
Now that's cool. Yeah, just thinking outside of the box and how to use these things. There are two collabs coming up that I'm hoping and praying that life gives me a break long enough to do them, because I missed Carol's last collab.
So did I. I don't know where we did.
I did it. Yeah.
Oh wait, that's
like
right. That's
all tray or something.
Oh, that's one where your figurines. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No, I didn't do that one.
One of the things was it was like still 100 degrees here, and I could not even fathom fall.
Yeah.
But there's two coming up. Carol's doing a Boo tiered tray, Boo Halloween tiered tray, and I want to do that one. And then Catherine Young is doing a Halloween kind of like, it's anything really. It's just a collab. It could be a DIY, it could be decoration, it could be a tiered tray, it could be a thrift with me, thrift for Halloween stuff. It would be great for you to unbend your Halloween stuff, but it's anything Halloween. It's not really kind of high structure, like it has to be a tiered tray or anything. But Catherine Young is having hers. I think you aired that on the 7th of October. And then Carol is having the Boo tiered tray. I think it is on the 8th. The Halloween tiered tray. So if anybody's listening and in the chat, go to My Blessed Nest Carol under her community tab, as well as Catherine Young. Go to her. It's just Catherine Young. She's a creative. She just hit 1,000 we've kind of been riding side by side. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, this community tab is the best thing."
That's our goal. That's
Yeah.
our goal. We want
Yes.
a community
And
tab.
you're almost there, Beth. You're almost there.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm at like 150, 950 or something, and I just stopped watching because anxiety of it. And if you watch it, it would go like to 953, and then it would, and then it would go to 954, and I'm like, I can't take the stress, so I just don't watch it anymore.
We're also gonna do so for the months of like October and November, we're gonna do a collab on our own channel on TVS, Two Vintage Sistas, where we're going to open it up, but we're gonna ask people like in October to find an item that they've thrifted that they're thankful for. Like, what did you thrift that made you thankful or made you happy? Like, and then how did you use it in your home? How did you what did you do with it? Did you pass it, pay it forward? Like, about thankfulness, right? Kind of like, wow, you're just so glad and thankful that you found. So we're going to do that for October, kind of for November, right? To kind of moving into Thanksgiving. And then in November, we're going to do something similar for Christmas. So share an item you thrifted for Christmas or that is Christmas, right? Christmassy, and tell us how you used it or what you're going to do with it or just a little bit about it, and it doesn't have to be, what did we say? I thought we said, does it have to be thrifted? Did we say? Was that kind of the point?
Well, and then we talked about how you were going to use it in a vignette.
Oh yeah, or how you were going to decorate with it
yeah.
in your home, like Christmas, what you were going to do with it. So.
Yeah. So watch our channel and our Instagrams for more information on dates about those.
Yeah, that would be fun. And I see that Erin wants to do the 2 collabs from Catherine and Carol as well. She's like me, if I can get my act together. But Erin, I don't even have small kids. I don't have kids at all. So really it's just, I'm like between church, YouTube, and work. What can I fit in? Like, I have a DIY little craft that I am hoping to film today or tomorrow, but I've seen it for years. And I think maybe somebody had one a long time ago. But turning terracotta pots into like a scarecrow with the ropes
fun.
on them.
Yeah.
I want to do one of those and put some mums in there in the top pot and stuff.
That'd be so cute.
To do that this weekend, but we'll see how that works out.
Well, you should add it to the Deco Easy collab.
The Sunday Fun Day.
Yeah, Sunday Fun Day. If you
that
get it done
tomorrow. It's always the last Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
Now, who is that one by?
Deco Easy, and then there's another. I think it's another channel too that you're supposed to like when you meant. I know Deco Easy is the one that
they usually collab with somebody else. I don't know who they're collabing with this.
I'll have to follow Deco Easy.
Yeah, go to their community page and you'll see. But every month, the last Sunday of the month is Sunday Fun Day, and you just have to share a thrift haul or a DIY or upcycle or something to that effect. And it's pretty easy to do. It's an open, but it's pretty easy to do the to add yourself to the playlist, and you just use a hashtag. So
are they from the Netherlands?
They're from, I remember.
Yeah. They're over the pond somewhere.
They do. They have said that. I have heard that. But it's great. It's a great list of YouTubers that usually do that one. So.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that one out because I'm all about the crafting and doing. Now, if I can get it done by Sunday, that will be the
right. There's your goal, Beth.
Yeah. And everything else you have to do today, Beth. Now you have to do.
And then I saw that Dina was talking about Trusty Huckster's collab for his birthday. Trusty Huckster Mercantile, Patrick, he's the first person to invite me on his channel. I did a live sale with him, my very first live sale.
I watched that live sale. I watched some of that live sale.
I was sweating like from
You did a really good job, Beth.
I did that whole pageant sweat where, you're not allowed to sweat, but from here down, you're like totally drenched because you're just sweating. I get up, my back is wet and everything.
Your chair's all sticky.
Yeah. He's having a birthday. He didn't get to celebrate, I guess, last year. So this year he's doing a birthday. It's anything like from the 70s, like a recipe. Mm-hmm. We make it, but we have to eat it. And so I'm gonna actually, I found a couple. Of course, it's gonna be a sweet treat because I'm not eating any of that
Yeah.
Jell-O.
You're not? Come on. We all,
No.
let me tell you how many times oh my goodness. My grandma and my mom, they were Betty Crocker and Jell-O queens. Let me tell you, we had Jell-O on lettuce, on pear. We had Jell-O. We had Jell-O every which way you could have Jell-O, and pudding. Oh my goodness.
Casseroles.
Casseroles.
Yes. And I know Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, she tries those really weird, like she's got one when she hits 2,000 subscribers, it's got shrimp in it.
Yeah,
like,
no, thank you. No,
lettuce.
thank you.
No. And yeah, Erin, I think that was our second time on Patrick's channel, but Erin's been on a sale, a 4-way sale with me, but I think I'm going to try that one. Like that's on my list. I'm going to really work hard to get that done with Patrick as well. I love to cook and, you know, I do some bake with me's. I do have in October, the bake with me is pumpkin honey bun cake.
Oh, yum.
So I'm excited about that. I'm not a big pumpkin eater, but you add honey buns to it, it can't be bad, right?
Yeah.
I just actually made some pumpkin muffins the other day, and it was kind of a variation of a few different recipes. And I thought, I need to save this somehow. This turned out really good, so I did put it up on my personal Pinterest. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I want the community tab. When you hit that 1,000, you get that community tab, because like in the description box, it's not enough space to kind of do your description and put the whole recipe. But if you have a community tab, you can post the recipe about that, and you can also share other things. Like if y'all were doing a collab, Erin's doing something, or we can post that on our community tab, and I think that just gets the word out a little bit.
It does. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's great.
Well, I want to thank y'all for coming. There's been a lot of great chat today. I thank Erin for coming too, because I know she's really busy, and for you to come and sit with us, it's kind of like superstar, you know.
Thank you, Erin.
But we have a lot of other people. Barbie came in from Punk Funk and Junk. I always
say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? And I love that some of the people who've been watching the channel and coming to the sales, like Dina and Miss Tori and them, and my friends like Debbie, will come in and support us, because I've loved watching the Two Vintage Sistas channels. There's a lot that they do. It's fun that you have someone that does it with you.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more, you know, exciting. You know, when you go shopping with somebody that likes the same thing, then it's just a lot more fun. And that's what I'm looking forward to when Debbie comes, because I told her, I said, Debbie, you don't plan to sleep. Because
No rest for the weary.
The stores close at some point. So.
Yeah, you can from like what 9 until 9 the next morning.
That's what you get.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
But we're going to put some miles on the car when she comes, because I'm going to pick her up. We're going to just kind of chill that day. But then the next day we're going to Glen Flora and Wharton, my booth in the Antique Emporium there that's really big, and another town. And then we're going to come home the next morning. We're going to drive to Round Top. And we're going to do the whole Round Top, the Warrington Field. And it's just vendor after vendor after vendor.
That'll be cool.
What city are you in again, Beth?
I'm in Sugar Land, right outside of Houston.
Okay.
And Warrington is in Round Top, Texas.
So I've been to Round Rock, Texas, but that's north
I think that's a little north of where we're going.
Yeah, that was more toward the up. I want to say Waco area, but I don't know.
My mom said that my first sister Lucy is a little Chihuahua, and she wasn't trying to watch, but Lucy had other ideas. She needed to go out. She needed something to eat.
Yeah.
She says little dog with that face, and that means she's aggravating her. So.
And one other thing we are going to do in the next month or so is Angela and I are going to do another shop where we're going to go thrifting together, because I know that people have asked about our thrifting together. They kind of miss, like we did some trips, day trips and early on, and we've just gotten life. We've been busy. There's a lot going on, but we are going to do, I think people enjoy to see us together. And so we are going to do a fall day trip
Right.
somewhere and do a little thrifting. So
Yeah, either we'll go to some of our favorite places or we'll branch out and try something new.
One of the ones that I did like the challenge where, you know, Angela did a shop with me and then Melissa did a shop with me, and they were to come up, they set perimeters of like, it had to be a snowman. And then they came back together, and showed your haul, your item, and then your viewers got to choose which one they liked the best. Now, I thought that was a really cool idea. I liked that one.
Good.
well, maybe we'll do that again for
yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could do that again.
That was a fun one because I was like, well, I mean, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You just have to look at what would be best for your aesthetic. And I'm with you. I'm like, well, how much did that cost? Like,
Yeah.
Well, and that was part of the challenge, was to figure out, okay, well, do we make the value of the item the winner, or do we just make whichever item
Tugs at
we
your
like
heart. Yeah.
best the winner? So yeah, we had to kind of decide which direction we were
Which
going to
we're
go
gonna
with
lean.
that challenge.
So again, make sure that you are subscribed to Two Vintage Sistas. Of course, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel as well. Help me get to that community chat tab and share our channels with other people who love thrifting and DIY, doing collabs, because both of our channels do lots of collabs. I'm waiting for Erin to do a collab so we can. I think she did a fall vignette. That was one of the first ones that I did. I think she did it with Michelle Comfy Cozy. Like one had to have a pumpkin. It had to have something orange. I think that was one of the first ones that I did. So Erin, if you're still here, I'd love to have another collab with you to do that one.
Great.
We would join in.
Yeah, we'd love to do that too.
And I'm going to go back into the description, link their Etsy shops. They both have Etsy shops. Melissa, again, what is your Etsy shop called?
Mine is One Vintage Junkie.
That's
.etsy.com. Just all one word, One Vintage and Junkie, JUNKY.
And then Angela?
Our retroreflections.etsy.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, ladies. And hopefully we'll be able, they have a lot of knowledge about some things that we've kind of been talking behind the camera about, meeting up again to do another chat so they can share some of their knowledge about some of the things that they like to collect. Maybe we'll do one on little people because I know zero about that. Zero.
That would be fun.
Yay.
Right. Bye, Erin. Thank you so much for coming. And Tori, thank you for adding them to your subscription list. We appreciate that. And ladies, thank you for joining me today.
Thank
it's
you.
early for you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Beth. We just have always enjoyed watching you and just are always amazed at everything that you do. And you're so talented and you're just so warm.
You're just a spot of sunshine.
Yeah,
You're bubbly, and I appreciate that, Beth.
We love
And
watching.
this is decaf coffee. It's not even caffeinated.
Wow. On caffeine, think what you would do on caffeine coffee. Oh my goodness.
Well, sometime we might have to come down to your area.
I would love
and
to
do some
thrift there.
shopping.
Yes. If you're going to come, look up Canton. When you go on internet and look up Canton first Monday market days of Canton, plan your trip for that. That will be my next. That's one of the ones that I want to do a meetup with. And we have several people here. We have Vintage Conversation, a Vintage Uprising Texas, Tippy Winks Vintage. All of those people are here. But if you look at Canton, it is this massive flea market kind of thing. And then that's like the first weekend of the month. I think it's either the first or the last weekend of the month. And it's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's my next one.
That would be so fun.
That I want to have like a meetup at, because apparently I missed the Ohio one.
I know.
I saw that.
Like,
too.
we wanted to go.
I saw that.
Don't worry, it's penciled in for in the future of where to go, because it looked amazing. All those vendors.
It did.
So thanks so much, y'all, for
you.
watching. Until next time, I'll hold Vintage Sistas for just a second so I can thank them privately. But thanks so much for watching, everybody in the chat. And until next time, y'all stay pretty and be sweet. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.